Today's video is going to be about 3 monsters that together bring the best PvE damage. I'm also going to talk about the new update that's going to happen on December 8th and why I'm saving my summons. I was saving summons for Water Pioneer, Mr. Wusa, but actually I pulled him from a daily summon. So I'm going to tell you why I'm going to save for Fire Raven. If you like this video while you're watching, hit the sub button, hit the like button, hit that bell dingy thing so you know when I post a video. Let's go, baby. I'll get to the best 3 monster combo in just a minute, but let's briefly talk about the update that's going to be on Thursday, December 8th. First, we got a new raid. I won't talk about that too much because most free-to-play players are not going to be there. We have 2 new player versus player modes. I'm super excited about this one. We got Brawl Arena, which is like a real-time arena. You'll be able to move your summoner. There's a pick and ban system by banning a monster and a summoner's weapon. Really cool concept. And then we have Battlefield coming up, which is going to be our resource for Sky Zones, thank God. It's going to be a 9 vs 9 team battle game mode. I don't know if that's like 9 players versus 9 players, or it's 3 players with 3 monsters each. But then technically that'd be like 12 versus 12 if you include the summoner. Whatever. But what I really want to talk about is the Ravens. New monster coming out. I feel like is going to change the arena meta of the Cleef and Theo indoors, which is really annoying. And in my opinion, the best 2 Ravens that are going to be there and what I need and am saving for is Fire Raven. I know in a Korea server, you can actually get him through a monster story. I do hope that's the case. But if not, I'm going to save anyway. And I'm still going to summon for dupes. But every single skill on Fire Raven ignores beneficial effects. So if Theo's at 0 or Cleef is at 0, no matter how much damage it does, they're dead. DAD. But not only that, Fire Raven has attack speed up, evasion up, ignore defense, really good hero for PvE and PvP. I'll go over the other elements as too, but I want to talk about Light. Now obviously a Light 5-star monster, not everybody's going to have it. But if you get it, Light Raven is going to be amazing. He can apply a heal over time to himself, can stun the target, it can apply Spell Shield to itself, which if you don't know, Spell Shield will block skills. Also applies evasion up, which blocks basic attacks. A very, very good assassin. Doesn't ignore beneficial effects. However, it doesn't matter. Light Raven's going to be amazing. Water Raven's going to be maybe a good PvE monster. It's got Frostbite. It's got resistance down. It also explodes Frostbite. Nothing too crazy. Wind Raven has debuffs of damage taken up. Also can ignore defense. I feel like it's going to be a really good Water Spider Queen monster. Evasion up and root. Water and wind just very situational to where you want it to go. Dark Raven's also a situational monster. Has some really cool skills that can be useful, like in PvP against like sustain comps, or PvE, which PvE there's not really many circumstances besides like Tower of Ascension or Spires or whatever, where there's healing and you want to like stop the healing or slow it down or just whatever, or prolong the enemy's skill cooldown. Just situational monsters, water, wind, dark. But Fire Raven and Light Raven are going to be really good, and that's what I'm saving for now. All right, now let's talk about the best team comp with the most damage. This is strictly PvE, and you can bring this team practically everywhere except for a fire dungeon. It's a 3-star monster, a 4-star monster, and a 5-star monster. This is my dream PvE comp right now. I'm going to start out with 2 monsters that you probably already know. I have not pulled any of these 3 monsters, and I am just irate. I'm hoping that this summon session will get me these monsters that I want. Monster Numero Uno, Dark Harpy, aka Helia. I talked about her in my top 10 light and dark monsters. Helia is amazing, and she is the soul link of this team comp. Her 3rd skill applies defense down and damage taken up. As the soul link, this additionally activates the link skill 2 times. So good debuffs, big damage. 2nd skill is just a stun. She doesn't have anything on her basic. It's mainly her S3. And as a soul link, if you're doing this manual, you spam this skill and it just destroys. It's a low mana cost. It's awesome. I still have not pulled her. So now we have defense break, we have damage taken up. The second monster on this team comp, Wind Martial Cat, aka Naomi. I have not pulled her yet. Naomi has a passive that increases the crit rate and crit damage based on the number of harmful effects on the target. This only applies to her skills, not her basic. Her third skill does good damage and applies a bleed. Her second skill applies a debuff that increases crit damage taken. Also applies an attack down, which is huge. The basic's just a basic B. So with Helia and Naomi, we have defense break, we have damage taken up, we have crit damage taken up, we have an attack down, we have a bleed, 5 harmful effects, which makes her passive go boom. Now the third monster on this team comp is one that might surprise some, and this fits this team perfectly. It is a 5-star, so you gotta pull it, and that is Win Jack-o'-lantern, Mr. Wendy. Now what's amazing about Wendy, if you're in a raid, this helps your whole entire raid. Wendy has a passive that applies a defense up and a shield to your team member with the lowest HP ratio. This is the only skill that does not affect the whole raid. And Wendy does damage based off his max HP. Since Wendy's a support, you just build him tanky anyway. Can apply an attack speed down, that's the 6th debuff. And the second skill is what's huge. It applies a defense buff to everyone, but it also applies a crit damage up buff. This composition of monsters applies defense break, damage taken up, crit damage taken up, a crit damage buff to your allies. Huge damage. So now you're thinking, hey, Barcode, we're missing an attack buff. Well, what's left? You got your summoner. This is where Kina comes into play. Now what's great about this game is currently we have 3 different summoners. You can level them all up on the same server. You keep all your monsters. Amazing concept, along with all the rewards that'll reset with main story and area exploration and all that. But you bring Kina there because you got Helia, you got Wind Marshal Cat, that's 2 damage dealers, and then you bring a support, and that's Wendy, and then you bring Kina, which is another support, and all you really need is the right element for Kina. Since I just made an Orbia video, I do have a lot of requests to do a Kina video and a Cleef video, but I will be doing Kina soon enough. But this is where you bring Kina and you use her as a fire element. She has sustain on her 3rd skill, also applies invincibility to the ally with lowest HP, which we're just trying to speed rush kill things anyway in this comp. The heal isn't huge, it's only like 12% at max level. Her 1st skill applies a burn, which is helpful because all we're bringing her for is her attack buff on her 2nd skill. Not only is this an attack buff, it decreases the skill cooldown of the team monsters. This 4-man team, I feel like, is the best damage dealing PvE team comp there can be. Currently, December 2022. And that's it for today's video. I just wanted to showcase these 3 monsters. I think the majority of people know about Helia and Naomi already, but if you didn't, now you did. Those 2 alone, even without Wendy, is just amazing. Put Bastet or Shannon in there instead of Wendy, then you can use a different summoner, a lot of different variables, but if you don't know about these monsters yet, now you do. If you liked this video and liked all my content, hit the sub button, hit the like button, hit that bell dingy dingy thing. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!